As for what is happening in the Kharkiv direction, this is also their fault. The Kharkiv region. Our forces are destroying the occupier, and the results are tangible.
Two years ago, Russia made an unsuccessful attempt to seize Kharkiv, Ukraine's second-largest city. Now, it is embarking on a second endeavor with an intensified military effort. Until recently, experts dismissed Russian operations near Kharkiv as mere propaganda, believing Russia lacked the necessary forces to capture the city. However, in early May, Russia gained control of several villages in the northern Kharkiv region, sparking concerns that it was aiming to capture the region's capital as well. If successful, Ukraine would not only lose additional territory, but also one of its crucial cities. Kharkiv serves as both an economic and cultural center and has become a symbol of Ukrainian resistance against Russian aggression. Ukrainian forces continue to maintain control over approximately 60% of a crucial city located in the Kharkiv province, following intense urban warfare with Russian troops, as reported by Ukrainian authorities.
In fact, the occupier fails to achieve its goal of stretching our forces thin and thus weakening Ukraine on a wide front from the Kharkiv to the Donetsk regions. I thank each of our soldiers, each surgeon, each officer, who courageously and steadfastly fulfill combat orders and hold our positions.
Soldiers engaged in house-to-house combat and street skirmishes as the Russian army attempted to reinforce its presence in the northern region while extending Ukrainian defense lines in the south and east. Deputy Governor Roman Semenuka stated on Ukrainian television on May 20th that the enemy persistently strives, particularly within Vovchansk, to dislodge the Ukrainian armed forces from the town. Sinyahubov further mentioned that the Russian offensive, which commenced on May 15th, inflicted significant damage on the town. Although Russian forces seized several cities in the Kharkiv Oblast, they did not capture the regional capital itself during the initial invasion in early 2022, only to be repelled by Ukrainian soldiers in May 2023. Moscow's attempt to recapture the province coincides with growing division in the West regarding how to support Kyiv, and as Ukraine's military campaign faces challenges due to troop shortages and ammunition scarcity. According to the General Staff of Ukraine's armed forces, at least 1,500 Russian troops have perished since entering the Kharkiv region. The battle lines in Vovchansk are currently drawn along the banks of the Vovcha River, which divides the town, as noted by the region's governor, Ole Sinyahubov, in remarks to Reuters. Additionally, on May 20th, Russia conducted an airstrike on a lakeside resort in the region, resulting in the deaths of at least 11 individuals and causing numerous injuries, according to Ukrainian prosecutors. Kharkiv held significance as a major city in Imperial Russia and later served as the capital of Soviet Ukraine from 1919 to 1934. Despite evolving into a predominantly Russian-speaking city, Ukrainian culture experienced a period of flourishing during the 1920s and 1930s, although prominent cultural figures faced persecution under Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin. Many writers and poets from this era, known as the executed Renaissance in Ukrainian history, only gained recognition after Ukraine gained independence in 1991. During Soviet times, Kharkiv emerged as a hub for transportation, industry, and scientific advancements. It housed a notable industrial cluster and several key universities, including Kharkiv National University, National Law University, National University of Radio Electronics, and the Kharkiv Aviation Institute, the first of its kind in Ukraine. In the 1930s, a Kharkiv research center achieved the first successful atom splitting in the Soviet Union. Strategically located about 40 kilometers south of the Russian border and at the crossroads of significant highways, Kharkiv played a vital role in transportation networks. It was a key producer of components for various power plants and military equipment, with the renowned Barabashovo market as its largest in Ukraine. Capturing Kharkiv and its surrounding region would pose a serious threat to Ukraine's energy security and have significant economic ramifications, surpassing those of capturing Donetsk or Mariupol. In 2019, Kharkiv was the third largest contributor to Ukraine's GDP, trailing only Kyiv and Dnipropetrovsk. Additionally, it holds the country's largest natural gas reserves, contributing to Ukraine's near self-sufficiency in this resource. Increased Russian bombardment and resulting power disruptions have compelled numerous businesses in the area to reduce operations significantly. The feasibility of relocating these establishments to safer locales within Ukraine appears slim, given the substantial costs, logistical challenges of transporting equipment by rail, and the considerable time investment required, a DW analysis said. According to the analysis, while some smaller enterprises made the move to Western Ukraine in 2022, reports emerged in April indicating that two major industrial firms based in Kharkiv, which recently merged, were considering establishing branches in the western regions. Russia's ambitions to seize control of Kharkiv have been openly declared. At the onset of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev identified Kharkiv as the fifth target for annexation. Initially, Ukrainian forces successfully repelled these advances, prompting the retreat of the Russian military from Kharkiv, leaving behind equipment and ammunition. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin stated on May 17th that Moscow's military operations in Ukraine's Kharkiv region are intended to establish a buffer zone and not to seize the city itself. Addressing journalists during a visit to Harbin, China, Putin explained that the attacks in the Kharkiv region were initiated in response to Ukrainian shelling of Russia's Belgorod region.
As for what is happening in the Kharkiv direction, this is also their fault, because they shoot and, unfortunately, continue to shoot residential areas of the border territories, including Belgorod. Civilians are dying there. It is obvious they are shooting right in the city center in residential areas. I said publicly that if this continues, we will be forced to create a safety zone, a sanitary zone. This is what we are doing. As for Kharkiv, there are no such plans today to capture the city.